Hi, everybody. Before we get to another great interview, we could really use your help. IMDb, which is the entertainment database, recently named the Too Opinionated podcast one of its top 100 podcasts. This is a monumental feat for this program. We're a father and son team out of a small town in West Virginia, have been doing this for about 5 years. There's 15 million podcasts out there. About 40,000 of those get to the point that they're listed on IMDb. Out of those 40,000 out of the 15 million, we were ranked number 82. Something that we're just immensely proud of. We're so thankful for our listeners, our watchers, our fans. Thank you so, so much. If you would like to help us out, and we're asking for it, please. It's easy. It's really easy. It's free. If you go to IMDb, that's imdb.com, look up Too Opinionated Podcast, and just take a look at the page. That's all you have to do. I mean, you're welcome to look at the cast, look at the episodes so you can kind of see who's been on the program. Do whatever you want. But even just bringing up the page, imdb.com, Too Opinionated Podcast, bring up the page, look at it. That helps us so much. So please, if you can do anything, we would really appreciate that. Our YouTube channel is MeisterCon Pod. Love to have your subscription there. It's also free. And you can also check out our website, meistercon.com, where you'll find almost 700 episodes, audio and video, available on there. There's also a terrific blog from Brett, and it'll let you know anything that we have going on in studio, if we're covering a convention, if we're going on location, anything that we have going on will be on the website, meistercon.com. Thank you guys so, so much. We appreciate you so much. I can't express enough how appreciative we are of all of you. We never expected to do as well as we have, and that's all because of you. Thank you so much. Enjoy that interview. Bye, everybody. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Too Opinionated. So excited today. I've got writer, director of photography, John Barr, with me. So welcome, John.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
That's a lot of hats you're wearing.
Yeah, it is at times for sure, but it's also like it's a pretty amazing experience, on the other hand. So it's great.
Oh yeah, of course. Well,
Yeah.
and so we've got to talk about the new movie, but before we get into Dangerous Waters,
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit about what got you into the entertainment business. It's not an easy business to get into. What got you into it? Was there a time that you wanted to go into acting? Was it always behind the camera? Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, it was always behind the camera. From a pretty young age, I've always like been fascinated with film and movies, and but it seems like such a far away idea of a concept of like how do you make a living doing something like that.
Right.
When I was my last year in college, like I got an opportunity to intern at a very small, TV production company in Portland, Maine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And we did like a lot of local market stuff, but also like when a bigger project came in, we would help out on that as well. And I worked on Message in a Bottle, that big Hollywood
movie.
Yeah, exactly. And they shot up on the coast of Maine, and I worked on that as an electrician, many years ago. And yeah, I mean, that was the start of it. I started gaffing after that, which is like you're basically in charge of all the lighting with the cinematographer. You kind of work hand in hand with him or her, and
that seems like a good place to kind of learn the ropes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because you're so close to like the camera. You learn so many elements about the photography end of the business, but also like lighting, which is hugely important when it comes to like cinematography. So I worked on some really great projects as a gaffer, and had some really supportive DPs that I worked with. And yeah, I started shooting a few, like around 2010, and did a handful of movies there, and then just felt like I really wanted to start directing, and it's kind of led me to where I am right now.
That's pretty amazing. So the new movie is
Yeah,
Dangerous Waters, and it comes out tomorrow.
correct. Yeah,
Which I know it's in some theaters right now, but we're going to get it on demand everywhere tomorrow, right?
exactly. Yeah, it's here and the UK tomorrow, and then I think Canada in a few weeks, and then I think it's sold pretty much every territory globally, so it's going to be everywhere. So
We
it's
got a
super.
we got a big weekend at the studio planned because my I was telling you my wife works for Live Nation. She's out of
Right.
town, so I'm having like all the guys come over to watch this movie. We can
Oh
hold
yeah.
we can hold like 20 in the
Wow.
studio. So we're gonna
Wow.
we'll order some food and have the drinks and all that and just make it a guys' night. But
That's
yeah,
amazing.
it's gonna
Have
be
you had a
awesome.
chance to see it yet?
No, I watched some of it, but I didn't want to watch enough to screw up my weekend. So I only caught like I watched the first 15 minutes and the trailer, which I
Yeah.
can tell you that trailer's loaded.
Yeah.
I mean, it hints at a ton of action in the movie without giving everything away.
For sure. Like that's the fine line, right? With trailers. It's like you want to give enough that it just like, is a magnet for, that people are drawn to. But still keeping some nuggets like that can be unveiled throughout the film, So it's a tightrope, trailers, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh yeah, trailers are so difficult because
Yeah.
you it's a fine line of giving away too much,
Yeah.
but also giving enough away that it attracts viewers.
Exactly.
And I think you did such a good job because it it's a loaded cast. You don't know from the trailer who's the bad guy, who's the good guy. You kind of suspect, but you don't really know.
Right.
You're not sure exactly what's going on when you're
Yeah.
watching. You just know that there's a lot going
Totally. Totally.
on.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And like, you mentioned the cast, like it is pretty amazing that we're able to pull all these people together. Like, and the chemistry between them all was phenomenal. And it's like you don't always nail that element of it, and like, when the chemistry is so good between, an actor and an actress, or two actresses, or whatever it might be, like it just brings everything to the next level,
When you can, like, as a fan, you can tell when a cast doesn't get along.
Oh, for
You can
sure.
tell it's a feeling you get.
Yeah,
But when there's
absolutely.
the opposite's true too. If the chemistry's there, you can feel it as an audience. You can, if the actors are clicking together, you get it.
No doubt, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Eric Dane was such a great get. I think he's such an underappreciated actor. He does such
I
a
agree. Like he's awesome. Like and given the right material, like he can, I don't want to give anything away, but like he's just such a delight to watch and to be around. He's a great guy. Definitely.
he always gets recognized for being just a good looking guy, and he's good looking guy, but he's really a talented actor. It's almost the looks almost take away from how good an actor he is. It kind of it
Yeah,
makes you underappreciate him a little bit.
for sure. For sure. You're like, yeah, you put him in that box, and like it's, listen, man, like we were in the DR, the Dominican Republic is where we shot. Like there was no shortage of a fan base there for him. Like,
Yeah.
and you always knew, like, when people were walking up, what camp they're in, like if it's Euphoria or if it's Grey's Anatomy, like like within 15 feet.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty funny. Yeah. But he's
Yeah.
so gracious. He handled it incredibly well. And I think he really loves his fans. So it's very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I've always heard really good things about him, and of course, you got to work with Ray Liotta,
Totally.
which seeing him in the trailer
Mm-hmm.
just reminds you how good he was. Still in great shape. What a loss, because obviously he was still in really good health and doing well. It's just
Yeah.
kind of a sudden thing that happened, but I mean that unbelievable actor.
Unbelievable actor. And to your point of like he went far too young. It's like it's just another moment to like life is short, and to appreciate every single moment and to live every single moment to its fullest. And um he'll be missed, like at the highest level. Like he was a global icon, and it's sad. It's really sad.
How soon after you had shot the film did Ray pass? Was it fairly close?
We were in the last week of shooting.
That's what I
So
figured. Yeah, that's
yeah,
awesome.
so we you know it was a tricky time. We took a couple down days to really just take care. His fiance was down there, JC, and we just wanted to focus on the family and give them
Cool.
whatever they needed. The film kind of just became secondary at that point.
Yeah.
It was just about taking care of them and making sure they were safe and protected. And then when we circled back to the film, I spoke to ILM, I spoke to a few other visual effects companies, and we kind of talked about um an approach, to maybe shoot the rest of his work with the stunt double, and maybe try and do some face replacement, or so we shot the rest of the scenes that way. And it turned out the VFX didn't really work, unfortunately, because there's so much action and there's so much
Yeah.
movement. Like it was just really, really tricky to do. And um so at that point, we still wanted to preserve his time in the film, because it is really, really good in my opinion. And I
Yeah.
think you'll feel the same. Like the time he's on screen, he and O'Dea just have like moments that are really, really intense
Yeah.
and wonderful. But I just rewrote the ending, and preserving his time on the film, and just restructured the ending. And we went back down to Dominican Republic and reshot for a week, or yeah, a week. And
That had to be a difficult decision because there's really no good answer there.
no,
You either have to rewrite it a little bit, or
yeah,
you got to try what you tried. And yeah, there's so much action in that, and we really haven't quite got to that point yet. We're getting close, but we're
for
not quite
sure.
there yet.
For sure. And without the ability to 3D scan him, that just made it even more difficult. We got as much material as we could to feed the AI beast, but it just wasn't there yet.
Yeah, yeah, which is a shame, but I'm sure that you got the ending that you needed for the
Yeah,
film, even with, and I would have been the same way. You can't not honor the work that he did, because everybody's going to want to see that now.
absolutely. Absolutely. And he is special. Like once you watch it this weekend, you'll hopefully feel the same way.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure I will. Yeah, I know. We're so excited to check it out. So
Cool.
what is Dangerous Waters about?
I mean, it's centered around Odeya Rush's character Rose. Like she's in virtually every scene, and it's about
She's kind of a badass.
she's remarkable. Like I hope I get to work with her so many more times. Like she's just and she self-confesses that she was incredibly nervous. Like she didn't know if she could pull this off. Like it's just she is fearless, and it shows in her performance. Like you never doubt like her capability and what she's able to do. And uh she's incredible to watch as well. But like, just back to the story, it's about her and her mom, and they go on this sailing adventure with her mom's new boyfriend, and basically, things spiral out of control when they get attacked by a bunch of henchmen.
Right.
And she basically has to survive. It becomes a survival movie. And then she takes revenge on what happens, what unfolds on during that attack. So it's I don't want to give away too much, but
No,
like
but
it's
I thought it was really a good twist that you've got usually you've got the female character is kind of the one in distress, not
right,
necessarily the one that ends up taking revenge. And I thought
right.
that's a really cool angle, because
Yeah,
she starts out and you've got this kind of sweet young girl, but then over the course of what happens to everything, I mean, she becomes a badass.
she does. I mean, she has, I just love, like in my first film as well, like I just love putting people in extraordinary situations where they have to survive basically or die, so um Odea's character, Rose, and her you know unwillingness to give up is and survive, and I mean, it's she does an incredible job. Like, I'm super proud of her.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Was the first movie Blood and Money?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I'm a Tom Berenger fan. So that
Yeah.
one, I was like, I'm watching that as soon as I
Yeah.
saw it. I didn't realize that you were attached to that until I started
Yeah.
prepping for this one. I was like, I've seen that one.
Yeah.
It was cause Tom is such I mean, talk about a legendary actor to work with. I mean, he's
100%. 100%. And same, kind of, like, he's just hurled into this like crazy chaotic, situation, and he's got to figure out a way to get out of it. So yeah.
you're going to get a reputation as an action guy.
Well, it's what makes sense to me right now. Like, I'm a very like physical human. Like, I love like challenging myself to the highest level. I
Yeah.
love like putting myself in crazy situations all the time. So it's like, it is me, like these films are an extension of like, situations that I'd love to be in, I guess, like
It
just
it
figure out.
it
Yeah.
reminds both these movies actually reminds me of going to the movies when I was growing up.
Mm,
You would look for those, you get dropped off and you'd be looking for the action movies
yeah.
to go to. But you
Yeah.
make a whole afternoon of it. You go to the movie, grab something to eat afterwards and just make a whole day of it. And I
Mm,
loved watching those type movies. And these I think fit the bill. Like
yeah.
I would go and sit in it for a double feature for both of those.
Hmm. That's awesome. Thank you. Yeah.
It was
Um,
it difficult being director of photography because those two seem like you might need two people for that.
yeah, I mean, it's again, like, I grew up in the industry, like, doing lighting for movies and for TV commercials. So it's like, it's very second nature to me. And the camera work is just like, it's a camera, you put it in my hand, it just feels incredibly natural. So it's like, you know, being, and I operate when we're doing single camera stuff, I operate a lot as well, just so I can be kind of right in there with the actors, and I can whisper things, or just be like way more intimate than, you know, 15 feet away at a monitor, like
Right.
yelling things or whatever. It's just for me, it's not for everybody, but for me, it makes sense right now. And, I do think at some point I'll probably collaborate with another DP, because I have a bunch of friends that are amazing cinematographers, so, um, I'm sure at some point I'll have to relinquish that, but I'm just not ready for it right now. Like, I have too much fun doing it.
Well, and it's so cool and probably helps to a certain extent with the directing side of it because it's like you're hands on. You've got
Yeah.
complete control.
Yeah, totally. And like, when we're prepping, like months before we even start shooting, like, it's, because you don't like having a DP like during prep is a luxury. Like, there's obvious, usually just a certain amount of time you get with the DP, so, you know, being, filling that role myself, like, I'm prepping with that in my mind throughout the whole process. So I'm like months of like figuring out locations and what time of day to shoot them at, like, when's the light going to be right. And, it just streamlines things a little bit.
Well, it's such an important role that never really gets talked about. We kind of take it for granted with the lighting.
Yeah,
Uh, but we've all seen those movies where the lighting wasn't very good
for
and it
sure.
kind of messes the movie up because you can't tell exactly what you're watching. It
Yeah.
doesn't quite look right. It's too dark or too light or whatever it is. So it's kind of a vital role.
And it's like, that's the holy grail, right? Is if you like can create a look and come up with like a theme visually that doesn't interfere with like the narrative, like it complements it rather than like distracts you from it. And I think that's probably like a common theme that a lot of DPs talk about, is just not being too heavy-handed with things, and just like actually, you know, just making everything kind of blend and work well with everything else that's going on.
Did you have to bring anyone in to like fight coordinate, or did you handle all that yourself?
No. We had a great stunt coordinator, Nick Bensman, who is phenomenal. We had Odea do a lot of fight training with a Krav Maga black belt in LA before she came down, and that trainer actually plays one of the roles in the movie. So he was always there, like helping her figure out the choreography. And again, like in prep, like I had a lot of it mapped out, so I knew kind of how the fights were going to unfold. But then like having Nick, who's an amazing fight coordinator, and having Roy, who is a Krav Maga expert, like just elevates it to the next level.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you know going in kind of what style of, fighting that you wanted for the movie, or what style of stunts, or were you just open to as long as it looked good?
Yeah, I was open to it. Like I feel like, in a lot of like situations like that where you're forced to like defend yourself, like with your hands, like a lot of that stuff goes out the window. It's basically,
Right.
it comes down to like just survival. Like, what do you have to do to like just make it through this experience? And um there obviously are techniques that you can like translate into like just a raw like hand-to-hand fight, but for the most part it's just like just win however you however you can, right? I mean,
Well, I mean, that would be realistic.
yeah,
If you
yeah,
were in that situation, it'd just be whatever you could use to get out of the situation.
totally, totally, yeah, for sure. And I think Odea, like, she had, her character definitely had some training, which is kind of laid out in the story a little bit. But yeah, I mean, she just handled herself incredibly well on screen, and her stunt double Sonia was remarkable. And yeah, I mean, it's just getting all those pieces together to make it feel seamless and believable.
Yeah, that's awesome. Was there a particular scene that gave you trouble, or something came up that you weren't expecting that you had to deal with?
I mean, everything was pretty well planned out. I mean,
Yeah.
there were some weather situations, obviously, that you can't foresee, where you're like, you have this whole scene planned out and how you're going to cover it with the cameras, and then a storm comes in and you basically have 10 minutes to shoot the scene, and you're like, okay, well, what don't we need? What's
Yeah.
not essential to tell
Right.
this? And so that was, there was a moment like that on the beach, where we had to just
It was
streamline it.
quick.
Yeah, exactly. But outside of that, it was all pretty, I had an amazing team around me,
Yeah.
like I was supportive and protective, and was able to just do their jobs at the highest level. So it was really cool.
You don't put yourself in as a cameo?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
Might
I
want
have
to
too
do
much,
that.
I have too much other stuff going on. Maybe when I hire another DP, I'll do that.
We'll get your acting debut.
Exactly. You know what though? Like the whole stunt thing like fascinates me, and I love it. And I talk
Yeah.
to my producer all the time about it. Like I want to get in SAG, and I want to like get thrown off something. Like that would be fun for me, and she's like, no,
Yeah.
that's not
She's right.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
What made you choose the Dominican Republic?
So my producer also works on commercials at a very high level, and her name's Susa Horvat. She's incredible. She shot a Bacardi campaign down there a few years before we shot Dangerous Waters, and she just fell in love with it. And the co-production team that we had down there at Two Caribbean is the name of the company. She just fell in love with them as well, and they, you know, just became friends. And when DW started like becoming a real thing, like we talked about it with them, and they were like, yeah, let's do it. And all the locations work. We shot the whole thing there, even the stuff for Florida we shot
Well, it's
there.
beautiful.
Yeah, it's stunning. It's absolutely stunning. And the crews are great there as well. It's like it just all made a lot of sense. So I'm
Did
so
you
happy.
have to film at all during the pandemic, or was this after?
It was the tail end. So we were doing we still were doing testing, for the zone A people. And we did create a bubble though. Like we shot in some very remote areas around the island. So we all kind of traveled as a team, and we never kind of, went outside of that. So which was very helpful.
Yeah. Did you get to do a premiere?
No, just because we just got the SAG waiver
Yeah.
like 2 days ago for Odea and Eric and Saffron to promote the film.
Right.
And we can't just throw together a premiere, unfortunately. But like I always thought we would, but circumstances come up, and you just can't do it sometimes. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, it's awesome that you were able to get the waiver to
yeah.
at least promote it. Thank goodness for independent filmmakers, because we're starting to run out of stuff.
It's so true. And like, credit to SAG, it took a little bit to, I'm sure they were just overwhelmed with SAG, waiver requests,
Yeah.
but Sousa has a good relationship with I believe it's Melissa over at SAG, and she helped us out a lot. And it's great to have like all those guys being able to talk about the film and promote it. And I think they're all very proud of it. We did a screening at the DGA like a month ago, and they all came, and yeah, I think they're really proud of it. So
Yeah. Well, it looks awesome. You did. It looks like you've done a terrific job. Just from the trailer,
yeah.
it's it gets your heart racing a little bit.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Cool. Yeah, I'm glad you think so. It's awesome.
Any chance of a sequel?
I mean, there's like, I definitely have it in my mind. Like I feel like the Rose character, like, I mean, there's so many directions that she can go in, she's alone now. She doesn't have any family. Like she could easily go to work for anybody.
Yeah.
But she clearly has, once you watch the film, you'll learn that she clearly has like the skill set to do anything. So
Well, yeah, that's in my head. You can kind of see her a few years down the road, a little more sure of what she's doing. She kind of has her stuff together and stuff. I'd watch that film.
And I mean, like Odea is like, she's, again, like I've sung her praises this whole interview, but she's just remarkable, and she could do it. I don't know if she'd want to do a sequel. That's a whole nother conversation, but I think she would, just because the action adventure element is just, it's hard to pass up.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you do with the ideas that you come up with? Do you just carry them around till one of them makes sense to try to make, or do you keep a notebook? How do you kind of
Well,
track of?
it's really interesting. Like the Blood and Money was, basically kind of centered around my dad, like how my dad lives in that RV that's in that movie. Like he
Really?
hunts and fishes all year round. That's all he does. It's really, really interesting lifestyle. So, it's hard, it's hard not to like write what I guess, and like Dangerous Waters is, just kind of like ideas that I have had in my head about like, just being in certain situations and having to figure it out, like it's, and I think that comes through in Rose's character. Like I think she's just put up against so many obstacles, and she just constantly is having to battle to overcome them. And then the next film is, my sister actually she's a midwife, but she also has a fifth dan black belt in Aikido, like, which is a super, like, on paper, like if you saw that like in a film, like you'd be like, no way that's possible, but it actually is. And so like, yeah, like I wrote this next story is like basically, her as the protagonist.
Is she a midwife in the film?
Yeah. Yep. And she has to kick ass. So it's like,
that sounds awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's super unique skill set. Again, like it's just like you would never put those two things together. So it's
they're kind of exact opposites, really.
Yeah.
That's interesting by itself. Well, so what do you do when you run out of family to steal?
Well, that's a good question. Like I've I think this next film, hopefully we'll get it off the ground and do it early next year. But if a sequel comes up for DW, then that's obviously would take a chunk of time to develop and get ready. And But yeah, it's a great question. You know, like what so I would be out of family after that one. So
Do you put your sister in this movie?
no, no, I wouldn't, but she would be a consultant. She would be like
No cameo? You like put her in there as a
I mean, she could potentially, I mean, I'm not going to rule it out, but like she definitely would be there to help like choreograph fighting with the stunt coordinator, and you know, like she would have a very um big part in helping out for sure.
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
She's
yeah,
been
really.
training her whole life for that movie.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. It's really really cool. Like she's, you know, I just spent like a week with her. I was back east in Maine, just hanging with my mom and my sister, and like, you know, just getting her like really excited about it. It's really interesting to see like how you know, just her thoughts and like how, you know, how interested she really is in doing it. You know, because once we get an actress on board, it's going to be the two of them like training together
All
and
right.
yeah, like hopefully as much time as we can so it looks again believable in the film.
Do
Yeah.
you have your protagonist like having to deal with something martial arts related while she's delivering a baby?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've
Yeah.
never seen that before.
And I mean, like, I want to just like tell you the whole story right now, but I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut.
No,
Like,
no, no,
but
you got to. That just gives you an opportunity to come back when it comes out.
exactly, exactly. Yeah, there's gonna be all that, you know, for sure,
Yeah,
definitely.
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed. Hopefully, we can get that going early next year. So we'll see.
Is there a genre that you haven't got to really work with that you would like to try at some point?
You know, I'm just really kind of happy right now. Like, you try to, you know, action is a big seller. You know, like,
Yeah,
and it's, you know, would you, I think you can ask any filmmaker, would you want to do like a dramatic role, you know, a dramatic film? And of course you would, but like, you know, it's just so hard unless you're at like the top A-list level of directors. Like, it's really hard to get, you know, a drama made these days, you know. And you know, so like with this style that we're in right now, it's like you do some really interesting, you know, character stuff, you know, like relationships within the, you know, I feel like Alma and, you know, Rose's relationship in the film is so sweet, you know, like you totally believe that they're mother and daughter and like how much
right.
they love each other, you know. And then it just like, you know, that builds, you know, to the point where things start to turn and, you know, like you understand why Rose does what she does in the end of the movie, you know, because of that, uh, you know, love she has for her mom, you know. So it's yeah, I mean, just like, you know, trying to find that balance of like having, you know, really interesting people in the film, really interesting characters, but also like action that like can help, you know, propel the story and be fun to watch.
One nice thing about more of an independent production is you can concentrate more on just the writing and the story part of it because you know you're not going to have that monster budget to work on special effects and stuff. So you got to you got to put the time in other places.
For
Which
sure.
to me, the character development and the writing, that's the most important part. But you don't always get that when it's the big Hollywood production.
Exactly. It's like, you know, ticking the boxes of the narrative to like keep people engaged, you know. And
Yeah.
it's like at those Marvel type levels, you know, like Marvel's cool. Like I enjoy a
We
lot
all
of them.
love Marvel.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You know, but there's it's nonstop. Like you don't, you know, it's just like there's no time really to have those moments, you know. So it's um yeah, it's interesting to be able to have time to explore that stuff for sure.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting Marvel movie if they just took all the action out and just had characters interacting with each other. I'd probably like it. A lot of people probably wouldn't, but
Yeah, I think a lot of people wouldn't because that's why they, you know,
they want the action.
exactly, that's why they go to those films for sure.
Well,
Yeah.
John, thank you so much for taking a little bit of time. The movie's Dangerous Waters. It's out everywhere tomorrow. I know we got our tickets. We're ready.
I'm so happy, man. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's great to meet you.
Yeah. Oh, it's so nice to meet you. You have to come back,
I
whatever
would love it.
comes next. We
I
got
would
to
love
know
it. Yeah,
more about it.
definitely.
Yeah, I'll send you a note once we watch it and let you know.
Please do. Please
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
Yeah. I know that the first 15 minutes I loved. That was really good. And the trailer, that was enough. But now I'm kind of like I'm ready to watch it, and I got to wait till Saturday. So
Please let me know what you think. I would love to hear your
yeah,
thoughts
oh
on it.
yeah, I totally will, totally will. So couple things before we wrap up.
Yeah.
Anything else that you're working on we can keep an eye out for?
Yeah, I mean, it's just that next film that I was describing. It's called Lake of Fire.
Well,
That's
I
the
like that.
yeah, that's the title right now. And yeah, hopefully, we can get it off the ground first quarter next year.
Yeah, that's awesome. Where can we find you? Where can we find Dangerous Waters on social media?
Yeah, I think it's I'm not a huge social media human. I have Instagram, so you can find me there, but Dangerous Waters is everywhere. Like you can just type that in and it'll pop up.
Yeah, it has to be kind of rewarding to see something that you made, on Amazon and Apple and everywhere. I mean, that's exciting.
It's super cool, man. Like Blood and Money did incredibly well. And we made that for $450,000, like
Yeah,
in the
and
middle.
it didn't look like it. Like it, you would have thought it was a well-funded movie. I
Yeah.
mean, it's really cheap for a movie to make it.
I mean, it was borderline impossible, but like you ask the favors and you spend the money, in the right places and you can pull it off, with my producer Souza, like she was incredible. Like without her, none of this would be possible, and even on DW, like we didn't have a lot of money for that or time. Like I think we shot it in 28 days,
Oh, fast.
for a movie on the water, with all those, you know, complications that go along with that. Like it was really tough. But again, like you just spend the money in the right spots and have the right people around you. And
Did you like sleep for a month after you were done?
well, you would think, but I like the last 2 weeks of shooting, I had a horrible staph infection. Like it was
Oh,
like
my
so like I came back to LA after that, and I was going to the hospital in the DR, but like when I got back, I went to my doctor and made sure like I was on the right, stuff,
yeah.
and
Yeah,
was
you don't
and
want to mess around with that. That's serious.
yeah, it was pretty gnarly, you know. But it was then just getting right into the I hadn't really kind of digested everything until we finished all the post in March of this year. And we were able to just like breathe and just kind of like really let everything
You
process
can
from
see the home stretch then.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Well, John, thank you so much. And definitely anytime, just reach out. We'll get you back on.
It was great to meet you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, this has been terrific. All right, hold 1 second. All right, so that was writer, director of photography, John Barr. The movie is Dangerous Waters. It comes out tomorrow. Please make sure you check it out. Look up the trailer. It'll get you hooked. I guarantee. It's a really exciting, fun action movie. I can't wait to see the entire movie. I've seen about 15 minutes of it. So that was all I could comfortably watch without feeling like I was spoiling the rest of the movie before our big showing at the studio Saturday. So, but what I saw, loved it. And I think you will too. Ray Liotta, Eric Dane, loaded cast. I guarantee you're really going to be surprised with the cast. Really good. Thank you guys for tuning in again with us. Really appreciate that. We definitely don't take you for granted. Would love to have your support, especially if you're new to us, if you're finding us for the first time. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you'd like to support us, it's easy to do. It's free. If you prefer to watch, our YouTube channel is MeisterCon Pod. All we ask is that you hit subscribe for us. That really helps us out. Doesn't cost you anything. If you prefer to listen, just wherever you listen to your podcast at or whatever application you're using, just subscribe there. That'll help us as well. We posted episode 668 today. You can find all of those audio and video on our website, meistercon.com. So please check us out there. If we're doing anything in studio, like watching Dangerous Waters, if we're going on location, if we're covering a convention, anything we have going on will be on the website, meistercon.com. So please check us out there. My last little plug, if you will, we were recently named one of the top 100 podcasts by IMDb, which is the entertainment database, imdb.com. 15 million and counting podcasts out there. To be named on a top 100 list is pretty special, especially for a small town father and son team. It's just the two of us working on this. We're pretty high volume. We tend to put out about 4 episodes a week on average. Tons of stuff there that I think you'll enjoy. So if you want to support us that way, if you could go to imdb.com, look up Too Opinionated Podcast, and just take a look at the page. Just that traffic on the page really does help us out. So imdb.com, Too Opinionated Podcast. Thank you guys so much. Till next time. Bye, everybody. Hi, everybody. I'm once again here to ask for your support. It's been a big year for the Too Opinionated Podcast. Back in February, we got to live out a dream, moderate for William Shatner here in our hometown. In May, we passed 100,000 downloads on our YouTube channel, and we followed that up in June with 50,000 downloads on the audio side. We recently posted our 600th episode, which is pretty good volume for just a father and son operation. You know, not too many podcasts can keep that volume up. We've been doing this now for 4.5 years, 600 plus episodes. We recently hit 1,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel, which is a really big deal for us because we've always gotten the views, but have struggled to get people to subscribe. So that 1,000 was a big deal for us. And best of all, we were recently named one of the top podcasts on IMDb, which is the entertainment database. You know, those that are ahead of us, we came in at number 82. Those that are ahead of us are bigger companies like Disney, mostly Marvel, and Joe Rogan, that type of podcast. So for us, being just a small West Virginia father and son podcast, to be in the top 100 out of 15 million, it's a pretty big deal for us. So thank you for everything you've done for us so far. Got a couple little ways, though, that you can help us, and they're free, and they're really easy. If you haven't checked out our YouTube channel yet, please go to YouTube. It's under MeisterCon Pod. Just hit subscribe. It's free. Doesn't cost you anything. Really helps us a ton. And maybe even more important, if you could go to imdb.com, look up the Too Opinionated Podcast, and just look around the page. Just having that traffic on the page really helps us out. So that's a couple easy ways that you can support us, even if you're not listening or watching all of the time. And we want you to listen and watch, because I think that our guest list, I would put up against anybody, any other show, podcast, anybody out there. I think our guest list holds up. So please check us out. You probably will find somebody that you like, or maybe somebody that you didn't know you liked, but kind of discovered them on there. There's tons of that. If you're into music, we have that too. If you like books, we've got authors on there. If you're more into what goes on behind the scenes in the entertainment world, you know, we've got producers, directors, video artists, anything you can think of that happens behind the scenes, we've had them on the show. So definitely check us out. Thank you guys so much. Until next time. Bye, everybody.